How does LG's recently released 27-inch USB-C enabled 4K monitor work with the MacBook? Check it out. What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? This is the LG 27UD88 4K monitor. It is USB-C enabled. You see the bezel there, you see the arc line stand, the curved stand. It can tilt -3 degrees to 20 degrees, like that. And of course it can raise and lower, just like that. And while the build quality does look appealing to the eye, keep in mind that it's all plastic. From the stand to the bezel, everything is plastic. It can also pivot 90 degrees like this into portrait mode for those special applications. And like other monitors in LG's display lineup, it uses the hardware joystick on the bottom of the monitor to control the on-screen display. Now, speaking of on-screen display, you can actually use LG's on-screen control application to manage many of the things that you would normally access via that little joystick. You can do all this in software, so you can change the brightness, you can change the contrast, you can even use a really cool split screen mode, which isn't as great as the one on Windows. If you're a Mac user, you get all these modes here, but you don't get picture-in-picture. If you're a Mac user, if you're a Windows user, you do get picture-in-picture, so that's something to keep in mind for sure. You can see the little snapping here. Pretty cool. Now, these little holes, actually, they look like speaker holes, but they're actually not. So even though it has volume controls on this monitor, that's only for the headphone jack, which you see right here. Now, the back of the panel has, of course, your power plug. You have a couple of HDMI input ports. You have your display port in, a couple of USB 3.0 ports, and most importantly, you have your upstream connection for USB-C. Now, LG does provide a USB-C cable. You can't use the one that comes with your MacBook because that's for charging only. Unfortunately, the one that LG included ended up having an issue and I had to use my own for mono price. Not a huge deal, but just something that I wanted to note there. That's why you see this white mono price cable. The really cool thing about USB-C is that it not only allows you to power your MacBook from the monitor and access, of course, the display itself, but you can also access any devices connected to those USB ports. So it basically means that this monitor acts as a USB hub. So you can access any of the devices connected to those USB ports. So you can see immediately it powers up. You can see it charging here. Just one cable. That is so nice. Just one cable allows me to do all that. And I can access the hard drive, the external drive that I have connected via USB. There is one downside. USB 3.0 utilizes 4 lanes, 2 up and 2 down. But the DisplayPort alternate connection to the MacBook uses all 4 of those lanes, so basically the data rate drops back down to USB 2.0, so you're just going to get USB 2.0 speeds with that hub. Another thing to keep in mind is that the MacBook is only capable of outputting 4K resolution at 30 Hz, so it's going to be a little choppy. Just keep that in mind. It's no fault of LG's, it's just the limitations of the MacBook itself. If you have a computer with a DisplayPort connection or HDMI connection, you can get 4K at 60 Hz. But the nice thing about this whole thing is that you just connect one cable and you have access to everything. My mixer, my microphone, everything with one cable. It's definitely not perfect, but it's oh so convenient. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is Jeff with 9 to 5 Mac.